And now we're talking about Chapter 2 of Rain Code, Master Detective Archives Rain Code. This is the
2-month hiatus, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
As per usual.
Chapter 2, but the third case. This is the halfway point of the story.
Oh, really? There's still half more. Wow.
I was actually that was something I was curious about because I didn't know if
There are
Chapter 0 counted towards the usual
chapters.
6, so to speak.
It is the usual 6, and Chapter 0 is the first case.
Interesting. So I was gonna say overarching. This one was kind of weird for me because probably more than either of the two before it, during the investigation, like it just kind of seemed obvious to me what was going on. Like sometimes that just happens in these games where like a particular case, you're just like on the same wavelength as the case. And that was definitely the case for me on this one. Unlike, I would say, the prior two. I don't know, did I just have the same feeling or no?
No, I didn't catch on to the why of the situation until during the mystery labyrinth.
Interesting.
Until then.
Oh yeah, I had a feeling pretty early on.
I questioned it based on some ripped up photos that you saw, but I didn't really think about it until I was in the mystery dungeon. I'm like, oh, that makes a lot of sense now.
So the why aside, what about the fact that it was all three girls working together?
That's the part that clicked with me.
I knew it had to be 2, but I didn't know how Warana could have been the one that could have also been involved with the murder.
Gotcha, because she was on stage.
She was on stage, and yeah, she only had 5 seconds to pull it off. I'm like, that's impossible without anyone noticing also. With all the stagehands, I'm like, how would they not notice her reaching down and picking up the glass?
It was dark.
Now wait, I want to say something.
Yes.
Okay. I think because we have played these types of games enough times, and this is Aaron's first time, that's why we're picking up on some of it.
Oh,
could be.
I think absolutely.
Like, it's actually nice to see Aaron's perspective as being a new person to this genre of games, because he's just going to see things differently than we do, I think.
Yep. There's, especially at the end of the chapter, red flag, red flag. Red flag,
boy.
cube, no, red flag.
We'll talk about Yomi in a little bit.
Yeah.
Hey, Pete, how do you think about Yomi?
What a great character.
He would say that.
He's a heartless sadist.
But no, like, during the whole trial and case itself, it was just...
He just has one question. What is love?
What is love?
I don't remember him saying that. Is that at the end when he's talking?
Absolutely. She's being pulled away. He asks her, "What is love?"
And she answered with a ...
But no, she answered with absolute despair. The absolute despair face with her eyes blanked out. Oh man. They also give him a portrait where his portrait is basically like...
Oh, they gave him the Konkichi portrait.
Yes! The Kokichi portrait.
Oh, the ultimate liar.
There it is with the black eyes, with the black pupils.
Where?
Oh, there's her. That one.
There it is.
You know, maybe because it was in Japanese, the line didn't stick with me, but I don't.
Oh, that stuck with me.
To me, the "What's love" did not stick with me at all.
So I don't understand that question.
Well, I think the context is...
She had a different thought about what she was to him than what she was to him.
I would agree with that.
Oh, that face. This has enough of the makings of that series of games. At least now.
Definitely.
The end of this chapter hits so hard and so fast.
So I think that's So one of the things I really struggled with, probably the thing that made absolutely least sense to me in the whole case, is at the end of the case, you come out of the mystery labyrinth, the girls fall dead, and then Martina lets you go.
Yeah, she's just like, oh, I'll get
Why?
you next time.
Because she thought there was a next time.
But that
For
made
her.
honestly, that made almost no sense to me, given the interaction that happened before,
Yeah.
like immediately before the mystery lab, or actually before the investigation even started.
Right, like she was going to kill people. She didn't care. And now she
Yeah,
just like gives up.
Yeah, and so also when she finds out that they're detectives, it's like, oh, good, I can just kill you. And that's how
Right,
you
and
enter this mystery labyrinth, and then you leave the mystery labyrinth, and then all the kids drop dead, and she's just like, I've got to handle this. You guys stay out of trouble, okay? It was a little weird.
Remember, the part of the contract with the Shinigami is that once you complete it, you're gonna come out fine. It was part of like the contract of you solve the case, you kill the bad guys, and then the Shinigami then makes it that way you walk away safe.
I guess that did happen in chapter 0, didn't it?
It happened in chapter
And
0
in chapter 1.
and chapter 1 also, where everybody just said, all right, well, the
And
case
just
is done. They just give up and
to-
walk away.
To me, both of those instances made more sense because in chapter 0, right, first of all, he wasn't expecting Zilch to be dead, or imposter Zilch to be dead. And so he calls it out, and then the guy reports it immediately afterwards. So A, he's spooked, and then B, Yako shows up and says, all that paperwork's a pain in the ass. You don't really want to do that. He kind of like works him a little bit, and that's what gets him out of it. At the end of the second one, Yomi shows up and basically, pins it all on Seth, basically saying, oh, you were stealing money anyway, you're corrupt, and he takes him away and, kills off his own guy.
So
And gives your team, the detective agency here, a warning. So in both of those, there was kind of a more plausible, like, okay, yeah, we'll let you off the hook this time.
With how deranged Yomi is, though, what would you think that allowed him, that didn't just say, hey, I'm going to just kill you guys now? Since I have all the detectives right here, might as well just kill him now.
he did.
So,
No,
Eventually.
he basically said, like, here's a fair warning, stay out of our way.
Right, but isn't that what she just did too? So I think he's making a good point that it's had something to do with Shinigami's influence.
that's what I gathered from, like, the contract from Case 0.
It certainly could be, but I even remember, like, when she, like, possesses the priest and he stands up, everyone is kind of like, what? I couldn't even hear him. What did he say? Right? Like, so the fact that, like, her, kind of confessing in the reanimated body, so to speak, it did nothing with the priest. At least that was my recollection. Whereas in this time, it's like Martina was just, like, spooked. But let me show you the interaction. It's right here when you start giving logic. And she basically says...
Is that supposed to have sound?
Oh, I lowered it.
Lowered it to, like, not able to be heard at all?
Yeah.
Oh, alright.
Oh, she had a hard line that I really like also. Like, you are not entitled to silence, and you are not. You have made no demands of a lawyer.
Yeah, the anti-Miranda rights.
That was hard. I was like, yeah, I like this.
Yep. Dispose of the corpse on stage Fort Rops. Corpses spoil so quickly due to the rain and humidity in this town.
It must be right after this when Yuma raises an objection.
Yeah, cause he will. Shinigami will read the poison label for Yuma, and then that allows Yuma to contradict directly what Martina says, and then Martina busts out a brutal line.
Yeah, so there's this. Right here.
There it
This is what I was thinking of, which is
But yeah, forget the golden ratio. Everything must burn.
right. So that attitude does not say, "Oh, if I'm hit with logic and the truth, I'm gonna step down from my
Right, but
power."
it's Shinigami messing with her mind. That's
I guess so. I mean, there are some things in the other stories too, like the Dangan ones, where you just kind of have to push the "I believe" button.
yeah.
Like some of the I'll just be very vague here, like time manipulations and stuff like that. You kind of just have to press the "I believe" button. So maybe this is one of those.
Right, like this is a really twisted character, but then Shinigami makes the promise, so
This also shows the difference between her and Yomi. And what she destroys for.
Well, her, it's just power, right? Like we're
Well,
in
it's
charge,
power,
so
it's also...
it's all will to power. Their will is their must.
It is that, but it's also... She finds beauty in exercising power to destroy beauty.
I would agree. Yes.
Whereas he... it's not quite that.
Who, Yomi?
Yeah, he's a good contrast. Also, none of those other villains of the week are alive. They can't be. He's murdered them all.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
If you didn't realize that when he murders her, they're all gone. We're not going to see Caldwell with his smoke, this money smoke again. We're not seeing any of them. They're all dead.
unless they all come back as homunculi.
Swank. You mean Swank or
Oh,
Swank.
I'm seeing homunculi.
No,
in the
definitely.
future.
I feel like
that's the good call.
This is a possibility. Because, okay, I'm gonna go back to the. I'm gonna go back to the prologue here. Remember this?
I don't. That's the problem. It's been so many years. I mean, months.
Years.
Yeah, play this.
Well, it has been.
Okay.
Play that video real fast. Yeah.
Yeah, what are you doing?
I'm going to remain silent on this conversation.
Yeah, you know
Yeah.
the end of this. So.
Hang on. It's coming to life. Give it a moment. This is actually just a screenshot I took.
Homunculi have a way of coming to life.
Yeah. So immediately before the Attract movie here. So remember this?
Yes.
Immediately before this. Here, we'll just do the whole thing.
You gonna turn the sound up?
It's all the way up.
We don't hear anything.
We don't hear it.
Again?
That's
Really?
what I was saying.
It's not like we're touching anything. It's like literally just stop smirking.
Really?
I'm not lying to you.
We believe
I swear, I'm telling the truth.
I definitely believe.
I'll cut through this mystery.
The mystery of my crappy sound setup.
I'm so glad I already did sumo.
Oh, I have an issue where Windows randomly decides to turn my mic volume down by half.
Oh.
And then people are like, we can't hear you. And I'm like, I did nothing. Windows, why did you do this to me?
So you don't hear any of that?
No, not at all.
Oh, I think I know why. Did my voice just get crappy, or is it all still okay?
No, your voice is still the
Still
same.
fine.
Okay, it should work now.
No crappier than ever.
Does it work?
No.
Really?
Yes, it's working fine. No, it's not at all. You know, this is the value. If anybody actually watches this stuff on YouTube, this is the value. Value added right here. Value has been added.
While this is going on, something I'll add on the side, and this will become increasingly apparent as the things going on. Yuma is an honorary ultimate Luckster.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Oh.
What does that mean?
That's
So
not
that, So the protagonists of Danganronpa 1 and 2 are called Ultimate Lucksters, which means that luck is on their side.
Things just work out for them.
Things work out for them. And now I can explain more about what it is, but that would involve explaining a lot more about Danganronpa. But there seems to be what I'll say meta handwave on that. This scene here specifically, when I first played through it, is when that first sort of scratched my brain. And not to give too much away, but this is not the last time that's going to happen.
Oh, now your sound is all messed up again.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
We weren't even saying anything, were we? Or did Maria say something?
I said something.
As soon as Maria said something, the sound got all crackly.
Why is this happening?
Sorry.
You're asking the wrong guy. Sample rate?
Yeah, it has to be.
You should just unify at 44.1 or something across everything.
Yeah, that's what I think I'm doing. But clearly, that's not the case. I'm unifying on 48 is what I think I'm doing.
Trying to do.
Maybe Discord is trying to send 44.1.
Oh, I think I know.
Isn't that the thing that happened last time?
Oh yeah, now you don't have any sound at all. No, none. I see the mouth flaps moving, but we don't hear sound. Perhaps when you come back, you'll be speaking in a foreign language.
Pete needs subtitles right now.
Does anyone know how to read lips?
If you know that, because I was just moving my mouth randomly.
We can't see Maria's lips, so it'd be hard to. There we go.
There we go. It's here.
Hello.
Hello.
With extra tongue.
Brilliant.
I don't know what they did, but now there is no sound.
He said something about I found something.
Yeah, and then it got worse.
Yeah, it got worse.
He's figuring it out. He's getting through it.
I'm doing this thing that you thought was the answer.
He's a man. He is a man of conviction. He will find this and fix it. I have entire faith.
It's good that you have faith.
So, can I ask a question while we wait for them to?
Yes, let's Phil.
Let's talk.
Warren Nuna, the girl that was on the stage. Was it obvious to you guys that she was part of the crime?
Me, yes.
No, we can't hear you now.
Maria says yes. So when I played through this the first time, it was abundantly clear that one person couldn't do it.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so it was a matter of how many of them were involved.
Oh, we hear the tapping.
Hear the clapping.
So
tapping.
My aunt. Oh, we hear you, and you're not screwed up anymore. My answer on all of that is.
Did it go away?
Yeah, it's fine now.
Can hear you.
We can hear.
Oh, you can hear us?
Yes.
Really?
Yeah, we just said we can hear you tapping.
Just now, when you started tapping the mic, we
Killing
really
me.
hear that.
No. But I changed something after that.
Oh, well, it's still fine.
Okay, now do you hear it?
Yeah, now we hear it again.
Okay, if you guys saw what he did, you'd be like, okay, none of this makes sense. Let's just move on before it doesn't work anymore.
Okay,
So was it obvious to you guys?
you can hear both.
Yes, it was obvious.
You can hear the mics and the sounds.
There's only one reason, though, Aaron. It was because of that picture.
The picture.
That's what really just made me say it has
and the
to be all
fact
of
that
them.
what's her name wasn't in it. The one who was murdered.
Exactly.
All right. The reason why I say that is because I just can't comprehend how she was able to hide the glass in her outfit.
Yeah, that is a trust me, bro moment.
Okay.
That also seemed very, particularly when you look at her dress and you're like, where are you going to stuff a glass in there?
It's a big billowy dress.
And then
Yeah.
from there, where do you clench the cheeks to hold a glass throughout the rest of the play to then deposit the other glass?
They said it could happen. You're in a mystery labyrinth, and the mystery labyrinth said it was the truth. That's the only way I believe that happened.
Okay.
Logistically, I had zero faith that was
This
possible.
is the only part about the whole entire chapter. I'm like scratching my head going, what the hell is happening? This doesn't make sense.
So I was thinking back to the last one. This is months ago now. You kept making a point about the guy nailing the nail into the painting with his hand.
Oh my gosh, yes.
I thought to myself, it would not be hard to push a nail into canvas with your hand.
Canvas. How sharp the nail is.
No, it's canvas.
Oh, it's canvas.
He's doing it through a doll to the canvas, though.
I would assume that there was already a hole in the doll. That he had planned that stuff out before he left the room.
Why are you messing with things? You're gonna break it.
Oh, Adam's messing with things.
He's clicking.
Play some video for us. I don't see a video.
Can you hear music?
Yes.
Yes.
Will you stop?
Okay.
Please.
Play some video.
I figured it out. Okay.
All right.
So
stop tinkering.
All right.
You're gonna play that scene.
No, I know. I'm about. So are we resetting? So we're resetting to all of the people getting killed off. Maria said homunculus, and I went to the scene at the very end of the prologue. So at the end of the prologue, you have kind of this monologue thing.
In the unending rain, through the winding neon cityscape, draped in my raincoat, I roam in search of my missing memories.
His overly dramatic poetry between chapters just amuses me.
Yep.
Totally reminds me of My Hero.
Even sounds like Midoriya.
She was a good character.
There's a good character.
Of course.
Makoto Kagutsuchi.
Right Makoto.
Pause it.
So a couple things, right? You hear moaning. They're kind of like all slumped over, so moaning kind of like zombies. And they just happen to choose like the tower in the back as like a cross, right?
Or it looks like Burning Man.
But listen, here, I'll play it right here again for the moaning. Because it's subtle.
I
guess so, yeah.
And right there, it almost looks like an eye is glowing.
Definitely homunculi.
So that's way.
Well, it's enough on the outskirts that you can see. I
mean, it's certainly not in the heart of that place.
All you see is the tower way far off in the distance.
I guess that would still be part of Kanai Ward, though.
Still raining there, so it's part of Kanai Ward.
So, I gather that because you learned his name, you know that he wants to contract Yuma. Then.
Yes. Although that doesn't happen until the beginning of chapter 3.
Yeah. So his motivation. Do you all know his motivation?
No.
Okay, then I'll stop.
Do we know his motivation? I know his professed motivation. Whether there's probably more than meets the eye.
Makito, I don't know how to pronounce his name. Sorry,
Makoto Kagutsuchi.
Yes, that name.
Yeah, it's a tough one.
Yeah, he's got a motivation, and I think that scene revolves his motivation. If you did the first parts of chapter 3,
which I did not do.
Okay.
Yeah. So
this is not a spoiler because this is 2 minutes in. I mean, it is, but it's 2 minutes into the chapter.
Yeah. For chapter 2, it ends with him coming out of his jacuzzi and saying hi.
Mm-hmm.
Correct.
And then it was
My
in
mask
chapter
make
2.
Does my mask make you feel disturbed?
It was the mask, nothing else.
Yeah, it's not the jacuzzi or anything.
Yeah, so the very very end is I sure look suspicious.
Oh, there you go. That's the quote.
And then end.
Okay, so I want to bring up a point.
Yep, please do.
Yeah.
Desahiko made Shinigami so much more tolerable. And the idea of Shinigami and Desahiko together, I'm like, I cannot stand this.
Oh,
The
you and I both.
conversations, I'm like, this is terrible. You should never put two characters this similar together
So,
because it is not funny.
But no, Shinigami put him in his place throughout the whole entire time, and that was the first time like I actually can stand the Shinigami more than this little twat.
Yeah.
and what I
You
find
guys
funny
all
about
loved
that is
him the last time that we talked.
well, no, it was specifically me. I wanted to like him because I'll say of the initial kind of impressions and design of the characters,
I
he
liked
resonated
him.
the most with me. But dude, once you get to know him, he's freaking terrible.
Listen, I never liked the dude. Ever.
So
Never at any point.
I can tell you the exact scene when I started to hate his guts.
Go for it.
When he transforms you into the
Warna.
Warna, yeah, thank you. And he's like, "Hey, you want to bang?"
It reminds me of a certain other character that was a chef.
Terror.
Avril
Yeah.
Lavigne.
And I was like, "You are what? You put me in this disguise, and you want to bang me?
So
You are the worst person in the world."
So
like-
to me, this was the perfect interaction. You got Shinigami doing like barf up the keys. Then he says, "I think she's perfect. I think I'm in love." Like right afterwards.
Yeah, it was so creepy.
And then, sorry, this takes forever to load JPEGs for some reason.
No,
Just
and the
JPEG.
best part about that is that a sentence before that, he goes, when he does the dance and you pull out the sword from her throat, he's like, "I think I just developed a new kink."
Ugh.
And I went,
what a
I had my video in my stream. I'll clip it and I'll send it to you guys. I'm like, you know what? That's so disgusting. I don't like it. But you're right.
Wow.
He only had one decent moment in the whole thing, and that was at the very end when, Yuma's really upset that these girls are going to die, and he just kind of gets serious for a minute and says, "Yeah, unfortunately, detectives aren't heroes," or something like that.
He also offers to do it for him.
Yeah, like I'll take care of it for you.
Tetsuhiko is a bro at the end. Like,
There you go. There's a quote.
He's a decent detective for what it's worth, and he's probably, at least compared to Halara, like genuinely cares for how Yuma's doing. Also worth noting that he literally jumps in front of a gun for Yuma.
Yeah.
Yep.
So he has his moments, but he's also just a sleazebag.
He's a lech.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Wait. I'm sorry. Can you rewind that a little bit to the beginning of the barf? That's so violent.
What it sounds different in English.
It's so much cuter in English.
Yeah, because in English, that's why we hate it.
Really?
It doesn't sound the same at all.
It doesn't sound at all the same.
That's like it's like Orochimaru creating a clone.
Yeah, it is. Oh, yeah, it is.
It's so guttural too.
So
Maybe that is a better part of Shinigami's voice in Japanese.
That's so
Right
better.
there.
That's so much better.
so,
That's why we're so disgusted every time we
this is one
see
of
it.
those localization things. So, but to me, I loved Yuma's reaction, where he's like, right here, perfect. I'm in love, and he's like, huh? So that was the best interaction right there. I'm like, yes, that says it all. That's how I feel about Tetsuhiko as well. at this point.
Yep.
I was
For
like,
moments
"Ah."
like this, like Yuma's straight man act like really resonates. Like Yuma's just like, the hell is wrong with you? He's like, yes, what is wrong with you?
Yes.
Yes.
In this instance, Shinigami and
Desahiko's like, yes,
Desahiko,
what is wrong with me?
they're elevating Yuma. Like you're starting to like Yuma more and more when he's around characters like this.
Now, I don't know if
It's
they'll
hard
give
not
him
to.
more.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if they'll give him more, but definitely, I forget exactly when this was, so I'll just get my. I think it's in the labyrinth, but there's an interaction where, oh yeah, it's when you first see Aiko, so the girl who was killed in the old case. He sees her.
Oh yeah,
And then, right, it's like, yep, now it's the next girl.
the next
And-
girl, the tragic
and-
heroine. He
and-
was going to save her.
Yeah, and Yuma and Shinigami have a
She's
like,
long dead.
kind of brief discussion. Well, he doesn't know that, right?
Yeah,
Well, he
I
didn't
mean,
listen.
they did. It is about her murder.
Well,
He's
no.
not, unless he's stupid.
Well, he Thunderhead
is.
was stupid because they did explain all the rules, but then he didn't listen because he was more distracted with Shinigami in her form.
Right.
But I just
Can
posted the discussion, the English version.
Here,
of
I'll play it so it comes through unless Aaron or unless Adam wants to play it.
Which one?
Hold on.
The thing that he posted in the discussion.
Yeah, go to the Discord.
I'm clicking around too much. Discussion. Hang on.
The Sound. It's a great title for this. The Sound.
this sound.
I don't.
Yeah, it's definitely not as offensive.
Oh, did you play it? It didn't come through.
Uh, yeah,
Oh,
that's
because I'll play it just so that it's in the.
yeah.
Go ahead, Pete.
Do it because I'm not gonna.
Mess with anything.
If I start messing around,
All right, here we go.
It's gonna go to hell.
Who knows what's at your feet?
Who knows what's at your feet? Blah!
Yeah,
Ugh.
I didn't hear it.
Didn't hear
Did
it.
anybody else?
No, none of us are.
It did not come through.
Oh no, I'm not playing it for you guys. I'm just playing it.
Oh, it's for the video itself. Okay.
It is totally different. That is
It's
100% different.
I agree. It's
It
very
really
different.
does sound like Orochimaru now that you pointed out.
Oh, it does, doesn't it?
Sorry
Did you know
for-
Orochimaru is voiced by a woman?
Well, that makes sense.
Yes, it does. So yeah, when that was playing in the background, that completely sidetracked me. So I apologize about that. But yeah,
No.
It's too good. I want authenticity in my vomit.
Okay, so then, although they do sort of he becomes a little useful, right? When you get up here.
He becomes a little useful. He figures it out. He's
He's
the one who figures it out.
so at this point, I still didn't understand how the actress on the stage was part of it. So I'm like, yeah, I get there's a solid straight line that kind of connects them.
well, they all
but-
pass the baton.
But the problem is the blue path, when you went through it, you confirm that she's not part of it. You defend her and you
Well, at the
confirm
end of
that-
them, you basically confirm that all of them couldn't have done it alone.
Exactly.
But in all of them, you like if you go back to the titles on the door. So how is the poison mixed in the glass? There's only basically you indict her by saying it had to be the person on the stage, but it couldn't have been her because how'd the poison get there in the first
She could
place?
never have
right?
gotten it.
Oh,
Exactly.
okay. I didn't catch that.
In each of the paths, you indict one of the three as being as that being their role in the crime. Right.
Okay.
So
Right, because it's set up to be like one person with the way the questions are. So the questions are just trying to throw you off from the fact that it's all three.
right,
Well,
so-
the
so
squirt
you-
gun really
Red herring.
was my red herring for me.
Red hair.
Oh, like shooting
Because
the poison in from afar.
It would make sense. because the amazing wrist skills that one person did to get the key underneath the dead body.
Oh, true.
So I would, in my video, I would like, yeah, if they are able to pull that off, they're able to pull off the one girl coming to the stage late, coming from the chem lab, and shooting it from there to the poison cup, and then from there, the person up top would recognize which shot.
But keep in mind, the cups were upside down.
Well, my logic is bad then.
You actually have to. That's one of the.
That's one of the points that they make.
Yeah, that's one of the points in the RDM that you need to say, like, nope, you couldn't have shot it because it was upside down.
So I want to add to this, and then we take us down another path.
Yep.
One of the things that was throwing me off, though, so I'm like, I think it's all three, but this is what's throwing me off, and I didn't know if I was reading into it or if we're going to find out something later. They kept bringing up the fact that Karen was nervous. Like she was expecting something to happen. And then that was just completely dropped. Yeah, but it was completely dropped. Now, it could have been...
And it also didn't make much sense to adding on to what Maria's saying. It didn't make much sense to me that if she was actually nervous about being killed...
Why would she drink the drink?
Why would she drink the drink?
She might not have been nervous about being killed. She might have been nervous about people figuring it out.
Remember in the beginning of the mystery dungeon also, they try to blame it as suicide, that she was killing herself. She wanted to die on the stage. So that was a great observation because of the fact they did try to say, no, Karen wanted to kill herself, and she was that boss in the very beginning of the mystery dungeon.
I guess it does make some amount of sense that she was worried that they
would figure it out.
They would find out, and that's actually there's another point that kind of I'll say maybe implies that a little bit. One of the kind of more nope, that's too late. So when you have this, and then the three girls.
Speak from the heart.
Right here. Right here.
私たちのすべてになった。そのためなら、私たちは喧嘩だってできた。演じることには慣れていたから。
Yep.
でも、もういいんだよね。
Right there. Right, so, right, when you're trying to hide something, it's just, right, like, of significance like that.
It's hard, yeah.
It's always with you. It's always with you. Like, for these girls, they always had to be in form.
Acting.
Couldn't be themselves.
Right,
yeah.
right. They, like, just the burden of trying to... And the same must have been true for Karen, having...
To pretend she didn't kill the girl.
Inadvertently killed Aiko.
Yeah, the one thing I'm disappointed about is they didn't actually say why that happened.
Yeah, that
would have been interesting.
In the mystery dungeon,
in a moment of rage, right, or something like that.
Like, what happened?
In the mystery dungeon, they explained that they were having a normal conversation. It got heated up. She took a brick, smacked in the back of her head. And
like,
then
what kind of normal conversation have you had, even one that you're angry with somebody, that you take a brick and bash their brains out?
There's normal conversations that then result in violent actions in multiple places, and so I'm sure that's what happened. So it went from a normal conversation to catfight.
Well, you do have the rain that seems to somehow be affecting people. Maybe it makes them more aggressive or something.
They did make another comment. Wait, no, Maria, that's great. Because they do say in a couple of scenes that the rain has made everyone more angrier, more darker, moodier. Yeah, you're right.
So, well, that's a... So, in my mind, this is like jumping ahead to like theories and whatnot.
Well, I can't help it. We're going down that path.
No, that's perfectly fine. It's I only sighed because I had to go to the other folder to get the video again.
He's looking at me like, why did you say anything?
Why I sighed. What I was gonna say. Okay, that was all I wanted to see there. So, with the whole like zombie and homunculus thing, right? So I feel like there's one of two angles. It certainly could be neither of them. But one could be that the rain like slowly transforms everybody into a homunculus. Anyone who's not like wearing a raincoat or whatever. That could be one. But then it also could be like these people who are dying or being subjected to like the homunculus creation experiments.
Wait.
I just think.
I got a theory.
Okay.
You know how the Martina keeps saying the body will decompose fast and it will spoil everything. What happens if it's dead bodies that become reanimated?
Yeah, I think that's what it is. I think you have to be dead. I think you have to be dead to be the homunculi. And so maybe the rain creates violence so that people will kill people so that they have more bodies to turn into homunculus.
I think the rain turns the dead bodies alive.
Okay.
I mean,
well, we're going to find out.
Yeah, certainly if they wanted to right, I mean, a point is made many times. Like Shinigami says when you first get there, I love the smell of this place. It's the smell of death, right? There's an implication that people are dying at a accelerated pace.
And the rain has something to do with it. Yeah, see how it says don't let the rain touch you, basically?
I think it's right here. This is back in the prologue.
あの建物の中で誰かが笑っているとき、この町では誰かが泣いている。けど、俺たちにできることは、笑ってるそいつを殴りに行くことじゃない。泣いている人にハンカチを渡し、そっとその場を立ち去ることだ。
So I think it's right after this. This is actually tied to a different thing I wanted to talk about. I feel like one of the overarching things they're going for. Is it right here?
この雨か。運命論を振りかざすやつがお決まりのように止まない雨はないって言うけど、この町の雨は止むことなく数年間ずっと降り続いているんだ。
数年間ずっと？
そう、ずっとだ。だいたい3年くらい前からかな。おかしな話だろ。おかげで天気予報いらずだけどな。
雨が降りつ。
Where is it?
When does the city lock down?
雨の成分が血液に。
I think it's right around the same time, but I'm not sure I could point to a specific line where it actually tells you that.
Similar timeline, yes.
Okay, so it's part of the secret research project then.
I mean, there's certainly an implication that they're all tied together, but I don't know for sure. This is the line I was looking for.
雨が降り続ける原因は依然として不明だ。
So, I mean, there's definitely a suggestion here that the rain has a functional purpose.
Yeah.
But in some of the world building, and you don't see this till like chapter 3, but it's so not spoiler, I'll throw it out there. There also is a power plant that you come across, and like if you bother to talk to the people nearby, they're like, oh yeah, all of the rain and the drainage of the city funnels to this one spot, so we can basically use like hydro, to make electricity. Yeah. So I mean, like,
this isn't gonna be like Soylent Green, is it?
Oh shit. Who knows?
I know that's a different. This is headed for some real dark stuff.
Well, I mean, it is. I was going to say it is staying in. It's staying in.
Yeah, it's staying in.
So, I mean, so there's certainly something, like they're dropping little hints here and there that the rain definitely is somehow tied to the research.
I just think it's a really good point that Pete brought up, though. You're having this normal conversation. To pick up a brick and hit somebody, there has to be some catalyst for that.
Like, what did she say?
Well,
what could she possibly say?
Remember that the main girl that died, she was always the lead actor, always a star, and everyone loved her. And so there was definitely about, like, I need to finally step out of her shadow and make my own light. And so that's why Karun, I don't know how to pronounce it.
For some reason, when they localize the name in English, they still pronounce it as Karen.
Karen.
Very interesting.
Well, they're trying hard to keep it more authentic in the dubs now.
So this is an aside, but there's like these days there's like huge controversy about localization. Like there's a camp of people who want localization to be like transliteration rather than like localization and translate, you know.
That's so wrong.
Right. Like they're culturally different things, so
Localize it.
Right, localize.
Transliterate it.
I tend to agree, but it's interesting to hear that they kept it as Karen or Karen in that context.
Just made her Colin.
Colin. So, but it even says here, it was a crime of passion.
Yep.
Yeah, and I heard that. I just wonder what the
And who
crime of
said
passion
that, though?
was.
Yuma. This is part of the production.
This was their conjecture specifically. There was no evidence of this original crime outside of the boots and the brick.
Yep.
And then
Brick
from
with
there,
the weird blood
Shinigami-
pattern boots with the dirt on them.
Yeah, and the Shinigami also said it was a very sloppy, passionate kill. It was just like they were having conversation. She wants to be the star, and then so took the brick, smacked her in the back of the head. So now she can be the leading role from now on.
Now, getting back to the, kind of the original thing of like Karen being nervous. Maybe we were overreading into it, but Maria and I were talking a little bit, and we were like, well, her parents are part of Amaterasu. Maybe there's something about like her knowledge because of her parents of something that's impending, some kind of like impending event or something like that. So we were kind of wondering if there was something along those lines, but it does also make sense to just kind of isolate it to this case in the context of like,
well, they do it.
Hey, I did kill someone. Like, I'm gonna have to hide this the rest of my life.
Well, I think the most likely answer to that is that they explained during the very beginning of the chapter that these shows are very high esteem. They're very sought after because there's nothing else in the town to do. So everyone from the town comes to these shows, and they have to and then this is like their career. This is their future, that they need to perform a good show in order to then, impress the corporation and get good jobs and go to college and all that fun stuff. And so it's not just a play for a high school, it's their lives. And that's why Karen killed the other person, Aiko. And that's why it's because of the fact it's just there's a lot of potential growth in the future for these kids, because it's like going to either a community college or going to Yale,
And I certainly think in the Japanese culture, like, since that's the context where this was written, I think that's a bigger thing in general for them than it is for us in terms of like
getting into the best school means a lot.
Best school possible, yeah, right.
So yeah, and they explain that a lot of upper higher corporation folk come to these plays to watch them. So it's why they need. This is why they are so passionate about these plays to make it perfect.
Yeah, that makes sense. Anything else on that point? So one of the themes, maybe I'll move things around again. One of the things that I think they were, they seem to kind of keep going back to a little bit is kind of this idea of detectives as heroes. This seems to be kind of like one of the overarching thematic things. Like in the prologue scene, I even had Yako saying, "Hey, us detectives, we can't do anything," right? And he's kind of given up. All we can do is offer a handkerchief. But there was a discussion between Yuma and Desahiko before the Mystery Labyrinth. Let me see if it's in here. I did Yoshiko last, so this was the last of the three. So right here.
Interesting. I think I did hers first.
I did hers also first, and I revealed a lot, like why there's a third glass in her locker.
The first one I did was...
I did Waruna last.
First one you did was the quiet girl, whatever her name was.
Correct.
I did the lights lady, Karane. Yeah. I did Karane first, then Yoshiko last. Do we want to go here? Okay, because I have this lineup, let's go here first, and then I'll go back to the detectives as heroes thing. there's a recurring thing here about the peacekeepers kind of like intentionally keeping things under wrap, right? Obfuscating the truth, pinning crimes on the wrong people and whatnot. One of the things that has been circling around in my mind, and I don't know that much evidence has been thrown out there, but obviously for people who have not played the full game, any thoughts on why or like how the peacekeepers choose who they pin crimes on? Yeah, like is there a method to the madness? Like, do they actually care that Karin not be implicated in the crime? Do they actually care?
With her dad being an Amaterasu, you would definitely think they would care in this case.
And in the first case, Yuma
is the question, right?
Right, I don't know.
But
I don't know either.
But like in the first case, like chapter 1, so the second case, like why would they want to protect the priest to pin it on a kid's dad?
Yeah, right? What was the reason?
Right, so like
protect the money.
Well, that's just is it a matter of convenience? Oh, I guess in Seth's case, right? That's a good point. Seth, he had money on the line for it. Yeah.
In this case, it's just to pin it on someone else to close the case and walk away from it.
Well, so you find out at the end of the chapter though that Wendy, follows in her grandfather's line of informants or whatever. What did she call herself? An informant?
An informant. I'm pretty sure.
That's actually
and her grandfather disappeared.
Right. So that actually also makes sense that if the peacekeepers know that she's an informant,
they want to get rid of her.
But again, why do you even need to pin a crime on her? Why don't you just kill her? Right? Like,
Yomi would.
Right. In a lot of ways,
Yomi's got no problem with that.
Law, right. And will to power is kind of their MO. So if you want to kill someone, just kill.
Right. They could have just went in there and killed everybody. Like, what is their reason for needing a criminal? And
it almost seems like they just make the best of a bad situation. The bad situation being a murder's happened. And then they're like, who can we pin this on that's related to it? Oh, that works. We don't like that person. We're not going to be overtly antagonistic. Our peacekeeping job is not to go murder people, but we'll use any murders that we can find and pin them on the most convenient people.
Something that will become immediately apparent once you start chapter 3 is that there are some internal Amaterasu politics going on that's influencing this.
Right.
I was just about to say this is all political theater.
Yeah. Keep this context in mind for like the immediate future and then the not so immediate future.
Well, definitely. So we ended up going about 2 hours into chapter 3. And by the way, just this is for the end when we pick our timeline. We're 2 hours in and a murder still has not yet happened. So
might be a long chapter.
Might be a long chapter. Now you can see when I record, I just put it on auto and let the voice play out, so it certainly takes longer. But we're like 2 hours in. Plus, I did like a half hour of like 3 different requests, so we've already put like 2.5 hours into chapter 3. Anyway, that's an aside.
I only assume there's more story to happen since we haven't really talked about this video yet. The sub blew up.
Yeah, the ending post trial of chapter 2, a whole bunch of crap happens.
Oh yes, definitely.
That has to be taken care of.
Okay, so I think that's I think.
Oh wait,
good for what I was going for here. So
it seems that the answer to that question is the peacekeepers have to keep up a front because they're in conflict with Amaterasu, and if they're seen to be doing the wrong thing, they might get overtaken.
And that actually corroborates. I'm not going to say it, but there's kind of some fetch questy type stuff that chapter 3.
You cut out. Now you're not making any sound at all.
I didn't touch anything.
I don't know what happened, but you did.
You're back. You only lost half a sentence, Adam. You're fine.
Oh. Really?
Well,
yeah.
You're back now.
Okay.
But Maria is like distanced now from her mic. We're not like the mic got unplugged.
Well, the red light's on. Let me check the.
Short in this cord or something?
Oh.
I
Because I touched this cord and then everything went.
Yeah. No, she's her mic is. Oh no, that's the wrong one. You're gonna
Plastic.
Oh man.
So
Okay.
wait, Pete, where did the chapter end for you?
The chapter ended and the guy gets out of the bath with his mask.
I was afraid I spoiled that for you about the sub blowing up.
No, the sub blew up. Sub
Okay,
totally
good.
blew up.
Oh, yeah.
There was a short. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, the chapter 3 ends when you wake up with Mr. Mask Man, and so the sub blew up. You hear the scene
You
in
get
the
to see-
sub. You can see in the sub where people are starting to figure out what Yuma's up to, and then you get to see the scene with Yomi and
cube.
Electra in the cube.
Yes.
So like all that happens, and that's after the case.
Absolutely.
Which is just also pretty typical. They're like, oh, you thought we were gonna wait for this till later. No, you thought there's gonna be some cool sub stuff going on that we go on some sort of a submarine mission. No, we're gonna blow it up.
So a fun story while we wait is that I actually was like, I'm just gonna end the chapter without OBS on. I'll just discuss this with everybody. And then all these cutscenes happen. I'm like, God damn it! I have to come back into OBS now.
there were 3 important cutscenes.
Very important.
The 3 important ones would be the cube cutscene, the fuzzy cutscene of memory, and then the cutscene and a little bit of playing when you wake up.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah, so yeah.
All right,
Yep,
your mic
we'll
is
get
back.
into
Whoa.
Okay.
Yay!
This is good.
It's only the
The
second.
mic actually might be dying. Like, it might be broken.
Oh,
No, I think it's the USB port might be a little wobbly.
Oh, okay. All right.
Don't know.
So, anyway.
So
Did you want to go back
yeah,
to the
yeah.
heroes
Finish
discussion?
that thread. We were listening to the whole thing.
Yeah.
We were just in troubleshooting mode.
So, what's everyone's thoughts of the squibbly memory scene?
I noticed
Oh.
that the person who was described as number 1 was wearing a cape like Yuma does.
So I have a couple thoughts.
Yuma's voice was badly distorted.
Yuma's voice was badly distorted, but it didn't sound like at all like it was much deeper than the Yuma we know. So
Can you play that?
I have a couple. Yes, I can.
It certainly probably was different in English.
Remember
I'm
that.
sure it was. I love that song, by the way, that goes on during that.
This scene.
I love that
Go
scene.
back a little. Go back a little.
Oh, it's Tremolo Horizon. I actually was playing that track under us on the recording anyway.
Oh, nice.
Oh, it's so distorted that, I mean, unless you're really good at picking up voices in Japanese, I wouldn't be able to pick it up at all.
But that's still way deeper than Yuma.
Yep.
I think
It
it's
was-
more distorted.
なんでこんな力が出てるんでしょうね。そこがあるんだよ。生体認証でナンバーワンしか入れない極秘の書庫だな。なんでも代々の名探偵たちの調査資料とか封印された書物とかいろいろあるらしいぜ。
So to me,
知りませんでした。くれぐれも入ろうとなんて考えるなよ。見習い。わかってますよ。でも、さっきのナンバーワンって人、手に古い本を持っていたみたいでしたけど。
Isn't that Shinigami's crown as well?
Yes.
It's a book that you used for the contract.
Yeah.
調べてみたらどうだ。お前も
Well, I mean, of course that's what that is, but I mean, they haven't established that yet, have they?
yeah, they did. It's. I'll go back.
冗談だね。本気をするなよ、ユーマ。
I thought in the very beginning when you're like setting up the settings and stuff and like setting up the difficulty.
All the way back
The
then.
book was there,
Yep.
yeah.
Yep,
I don't
that's
even
where I was
remember
gonna
that.
That's where I was going to go back to. This here is the very, very beginning.
There's a book.
Yeah, that is the book.
This video might be a different sample rate, so the audio might be jacked up.
Doesn't seem jacked up.
See, there's the book, right? So
Yep.
it's the very, very first thing you see in the game. So I guess I interpreted a couple possibilities, right? So certainly there is a character named Yuma who is a trainee who sees number one.
Whose ID exists because that person is a person.
Right. Now, it seemed to me that the plainest interpretation of that scene is Yuma's number one. Like the Yuma that we know and see
Is actually number one.
Because I think in the prologue they say something along the lines of, well, no one's ever seen him before. Or no one knows what he looks like. But then an individual shows up on the video.
Mm-hmm. Who calls themselves number one.
I am
Right.
number one.
There it is, lower right corner.
All right. Number one.
And I think
You are
that,
number one.
what's his name? The detective guy, the main detective,
Yako.
I think Yako made a deal with him when he was going to lose his memories. Like, I'm going to lose my memories and I'm going to show up here and you've got to take care of me. I think Yako knows all of this, whatever's going on.
So we'll go. I'm trying to. So I went back to the prologue after this scene because I had a couple of thoughts, and I was trying to do some investigating. So in the prologue, when you first see, how do you know? So you must be Yuma. So my first thought is, how does he know who Yuma is? But that could be. So then there's this, which says, the numbers still don't add up. There was only supposed to be 5. And then Yako says, oh, I'll explain that later.
Which he doesn't.
I'm still waiting for later unless I missed it. So that's one thing.
It ultimately ends up as semantics because there's 6 master detectives and 5 master detectives and 1 trainee.
That
Lame.
is one possibility.
No, it's semantics. That's how it's explained.
Okay. So I didn't interpret that. I was and then the other one was, where is it? Towards the end of the first mystery labyrinth. She compliments you. That was a solid deduction. Sorry, I don't know why these take forever to load. Very impressive.
Amazing your potential.
Right, so then backhanded, she compliments herself, right? And the typical Shinigami stuff. But then Yuma says, it doesn't feel like I'm learning, more like I'm remembering it. Maybe I was even a high-ranking detective of the WDO. And then Shinigami says, forget about that. Don't think about it too much.
She definitely keeps trying to direct him away from important things. Every time he says something that gets a little serious, she makes a joke and we're going to talk about something else.
So, right, I mean, it certainly is not a smoking gun, but it would be consistent with the theory that the Yuma we know is number one. Another possibility, related but different, is body swap type things, right? Because clearly the character named Yuma in the flashback is not number one at that time. Whether it's the same Yuma, whether number one assumes his identity because he kills him, or whether he does a body swap, right? I mean, all of these are possibilities.
Or
number one was put into a homunculus.
Right. We got the homunculus thing.
But to
you don't
me,
know what homunculi are, so.
Well, in the
if you watch Full Metal Alchemist,
well, I mean, false humans, created humans, assumedly,
right? Where they look more, or whatever those things were at the end of the prologue, look more like zombies than false humans.
I mean, so this mission is so important, also, for the WDO, and especially for number one to show a video of himself explaining how important this mission is. It makes sense that he's like, all right, now I'm going to infiltrate my own organization as this young, trainee. But with it makes sense that he is number one, because he needs to get this completed.
Well, also, who would be willing to make a contract where you have to give away all of your memory. Either somebody who has nothing to give away or somebody who has an incredibly good reason to do it.
Right.
Right.
So either your trainee who is nothing, or number one, or somebody high up who knows that this is the only way that this can be fixed.
Mm-hmm.
So if number one here, though, is, this form of number one, so to speak, is truly that old, right? Like, I mean, the contract could be
Taken back in time.
I mean, it could be, but I was thinking more like, hey, put me in this body, put me in this body, right? Like, so.
Yeah, we don't know the details of any of it.
Very old, right?
We haven't gone far enough yet for that.
But the most important part about number one. Number one hero.
Number one.
Number one.
So anyway, so I mean, I think the only thing I definitively took away from that scene is there is certainly a connection between number one and Yuma. I don't think there's enough like hard facts given yet to like fully piece it together. But to me, that flashback scene was definitely like there's something between these two characters, because it even says, the only person who can get into that book vault is
number one with his biometrics.
Biometrics, yeah. So certainly,
could be father-son.
Well, I'm not going to say anything about that because, I mean, it's very early in chapter 3, but Makoto says something very interesting about Yuma, kind of in passing once again. So I don't know. I think that's all I remember, or I remember that I wanted to say about that scene. But certainly that scene to me was like, ooh, this is like the next trail in the breadcrumbs. This is the next crumb in the breadcrumb trail. Like, this is intentionally here, kind of stringing us along and kind of giving us some information on specifically the mystery of the memories, right? Because there's a couple like overarching mysteries. There's the who is Yuma, and then there's the what's the ultimate secret, and the two may be related, and presumably they are. But
well, there's also
they may not be.
There's also the question of, is Shinigami actually helping you, or is Shinigami?
Oh no, she's helping.
Shinigami has an agenda.
She has an agenda that might not match your own.
No, I think she's just true neutral in their whole aspect of, I don't care what's going on as long as you're using me for investigations. We're using the Mystery Labyrinth, and I get to kill people.
As long as I get death. As
long as I get to pow kill someone, I'll be happy.
This is probably so fun to just listen to.
Because he knows the answer.
All of us.
So, but one of the interesting, I think, byproducts of if he is number one, or somehow his like consciousness is strongly related to that of number one, it really actually seems like a strong backdrop for this whole kind of, I'll call it self-questioning that goes into, because like I was saying, one of the overarching, right, there's the killing at the end, right? So it's almost like, hey, if he was number one, this is all just hypothetical. If he was number one, right, and he makes this contract with Shinigami, like Shinigami knows she's in on it. The real, the previous prior to the contract, number one is all like, yep, we got to do this, right? If they're all like in agreement, yep, this is what we got to do. One of the interesting risks that seems to potentially manifest is when you reawaken without your memories, do you end up adopting the same value system? Does the fact that you have to kill 3 high school girls by finding them guilty impede the mission, right? Because you become someone else. Being kind of reborn more like a kid, you kind of have it almost becomes a wild card in sort of the whole plan, if in fact that's what's going on. But then this ties closely to the other thing I was, I almost introduced, but then we ended up going down that scene, which is one of the big questions that seems to be going on in Yuma's mind, aside from what are my memories, like who am I, etc., is what's a hero? And like, are or what's a detective? Are detectives heroes? Are detectives not heroes? In like every case, including the prologue when you talk with Yako on the chief there, or on the rooftop there's kind of like something thrown out there linking or really questioning whether or not detectives are heroes. And it actually hit me in one of the quests, one of the 4 requests. You go talk to people for the church. Did people do that one?
Yes.
Yes, the side quest.
Right. So in the side quest where you talk to people about the church, you talk to the one guy who's like, "Hey, what should I do I want to make a difference. What should I do?" And one of the choices you can choose is become a
detective. Yeah.
Or a
become a
peacekeeper.
detective. Yes, thank you.
A peacekeeper, a master crafter, or
a detective.
Detective. Yeah.
And so, right, he's saying, "Hey, I want to make a difference." I mean, that's maybe a little different than a hero, right? But those two things are like tied together. That's the one I chose. I think the correct answer, the one that gets you the most detective points, was actually a master creator.
Huh.
but I picked the hero, and his response is like, "Oh, I never thought." Like the man's response is like, "Oh, I never really thought that a detective could be a hero." So it seems to be kind of like tying into this overall theme and kind of question in Yuma's head.
It's connected to this one thing though. What is a detective's job? To find the truth. So what he's asking himself is finding the truth always a good thing? And that's also tied to this hero thing, because heroes always do the good thing, right? They always do the best thing. And so is truth actually good is another question that's tied to all of this.
I think this chapter did a wonderful job of describing what if the truth was really what a hero would go after, because you killed 3 women for killing.
Who did the right thing, in essence?
Not really.
They punished this other girl because nobody was willing to do it.
Okay, so
true.
But even that they question in the story.
But is vigilante justice really the right way? Like certainly.
But if you can't get justice any other way, how are you going to get? Then what's justice? What is justice?
And this is why I brought up the Shinigami earlier, saying she doesn't care. She's just pure neutral. Whoever is a killer in her eyes. I want to kill them because they are killers.
So to all deplorables.
Yep.
Everyone's a deplorable.
But again, we already saw it, right? But in the one discussion, it wasn't there. There's talk of justice in this, right? So like this whole idea of like justice, truth, and hero and detectives keep like swirling around.
Well, because the
narrative at multiple points.
They're asking you all these questions. They're not telling you the answer. They're asking you to ask the questions.
Absolutely, right. They are posing the question to you as the viewer.
It's a philosophical argument.
There's in this chapter, there's another request where somebody asks you to buy a present for their girlfriend.
Oh yes.
And in that one, you are given the choice. Do you tell him the truth or do you not? And no matter what you pick, the guy doesn't buy it, and then Yuma feels guilty and wonders if he should have done the other thing.
Oh,
okay.
Yeah,
because I chose telling the truth.
So if you tell him the truth, then he sort of the guy gets delusional, he walks off, and then Yuma feels guilty, and maybe you shouldn't have messed with the guy's happiness. And if you just go along with it, then he leaves, and then Yuma feels guilty because maybe you should have told him the truth.
And I think in that case, you actually get the same amount of detective points both times. Yeah. So there is truly no right answer in that one.
Oh, I thought I chose wrong. Oops.
That's interesting.
And so that plays back into this, wherein they're saying there's does the truth matter for this guy? Probably not. And then Yuma's tormenting himself over it, even though in the larger context, this guy's just hard on.
So another instance, it was kind of when you're doppelganging Martina, and you kind of you have someone pat down the lighting girl. There's another commentary here, right? Like, not that one.
Are we not going to talk about the fat peacekeeper where he wanted to get punished over and over again?
There was a lot of pervert shit in this second chapter.
Yeah.
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 It's
Very
definitely Yuma's
uncomfortable.
chapter. What do you expect?
I think Yuma was called a pervert by Shinigami about 50 times.
Well, no,
And he was the least perverted person.
he did not deserve those. She is
did
just
not.
she's just being jealous throughout the whole entire time, which was rather annoying the whole entire time. Just flat-chested uggo. Like, okay, stop that. That's rude.
Right. So, but there's this.
I think Rude sums her up.
But again, so this is like one of those moral questions that Yuma's like wrestling with, like all throughout. Right, he's kind of questioning, like, hey, is the truth that important? Like, if I'm coercing people, right? Because this is when he used his power as a purported peacekeeper to force her to show the journal, right? And then she like grabs it and runs off.
In essence, lies for the truth.
Yeah, I mean, but
His
he's
lie
struggling here,
traded
right?
for
Like,
truth.
Right. He's
Worth noting
lying.
that
Yep.
lying to get to the truth is also something that Halara touted
Mm-hmm.
in chapter
Oh,
1.
yes.
Yeah, see, I didn't.
See, she very much was like, whatever it takes to get to the truth is the moral good.
Well, it's the job of the detective.
Right,
The
but
truth is the good.
she's putting right. The truth is the good according to Halara. So, like, definitely each character gives you a different perspective on, at least their perspective on what is moral and what is not.
Right, so, but then there's this interaction too, where basically he says, hey, if that's how you see it, you're already a hero, i.e., as a detective, I don't want to allow them to distort the truth. Yasuhiko, fellow detective, basically says, well, that means you're a hero already. Right? So again, this kind of idea of truth, hero, coercion, right? The fact that you're killing people off by revealing the truth. Right? It's all something that Yuma's wrestling with. And if he, like I said, if he is number one,
He's got to be
I
number
hope
one.
That's it, because it's such an interesting wild card of, like, you know, kind of this fact of like him, like, possibly not going along with his plan.
Right.
It's almost like Shinigami's there to kind of make sure he follows through with his plan.
Right.
Because being reborn into this
Shell.
dark world with all this bad stuff, right, is gonna take someone without those experiences down this dark path that they may wander from, because it's not an easy path to walk, right? When it gets that dark. So I hope he's number one, because I feel like that would be
cool.
I think for the
Thematically
purposes of
appropriate.
thematically appropriate. There you go. That's a great way to say it.
Also cool.
Those are our questions.
All our questions on that paper are
So
done.
damn it, I'm gonna go to Kotaro and complain if that's not what it is thematically. Although knowing these games, you know, there's gonna be more stuff thrown out there and
Yeah.
twists and turns, and just because one of the things that all these games do is they withhold enough information early on that you can never fully see the full picture.
It's true.
Pretty much.
And like, for example, Makoto, definitely an important character.
We have no clue.
I assume he's an important character. I don't know.
He's got to be.
He has a name. He's not.
He's also a Makoto.
He's not just
in one of
priest.
their
Yeah, he's a
games.
Makoto.
Come
Exactly.
on.
Yeah.
I mean,
If
that's
he
the
turns
that's the
out-
name that's the name of the character for Aaron's purposes. That's the name of the character they used for the protagonist, of the first Danganronpa. There's no way that guy is not somebody important.
Thank you for pointing that out, Pete, because if I pointed it out, it would sound like a tell.
I was just gonna say, what if it is Makoto from the Danganronpa series?
Nice mask, bro.
Certainly has the same hair color.
I don't know if it's if they can do that.
Naegi, Naegi has. Oh, you're talking Makoto. Never mind.
Yeah, I'm saying.
Also has the same hair color as number one, I think. And same kind of hairstyle too, actually. So also on that thematic thing, right? Again, just more banter about justice.
Well, I mean, even that statement's interesting. Justice is a matter of opinion.
But this is when he's doubting himself,
Yep.
right? Like he sees
With
the
enough
dead body.
conviction, anything can be considered justice.
That's true, though.
Man, these guys are so good at philosophy. Like, just making you think about stuff.
Yeah. What is justice? And can one person's justice be different than another's?
That's where the truth comes in, right? And
Exactly.
I think that's where it ties. You know, that's where again thematically it kind of turns back to this idea of like truth and whatnot. And then we had already seen these, but like
I love it. There was
logic,
immediate.
meaning-
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, compared to Martinez's justice, compared to
Yomi's
Yomi's
justice.
compared to
Swank's
everybody
justice.
Swank's justice, compared to the informant's justice,
Justice
compared
is
to
money.
Halara and
Mhm.
Yako. Everybody has a different view on it.
Yep.
Which is real in real life. Everyday people have their own sense of justice.
Everybody seemed pretty seemed to disregard the idea that, you know, those three girls who murdered that other girl were looking for justice. But I mean, if it wasn't that, then what was it?
Well, so Maria and I had a discussion about that too, right? That's where the situation in Kanai Ward becomes important. So they essentially say at the end that, right, the peacekeepers were covering it up, so they felt they had to go down to vigilante
do it
justice.
themselves. Exactly.
Right.
Right, if you are in a system where there is no even possibility of justice, what then becomes justice?
What you can get.
And that's where I think that's where some of like the quests, kind of have some interesting exploration, because like the first quest of chapter 2 was like that like dead dude, and he like leaves you the note. He's like, at least someone's like, right, like this place has become so corrupt,
Wow.
but at least there's some.
What a great quest.
Oh, I have multiple feelings.
That really bothered Aaron. I saw that.
Oh, it pissed me off so much. Guy loses his family, loses his daughter,
Loses
and then
everything. Is
loses
dying.
everything, and then
Entrusts this other guy to do the right thing.
he fucking crushes it, and I'm like, this city sucks.
That's the kind of world building that you get in the side quests. So some of the side quests suck. Some side quests you only do because you don't want to have your ass killed in the name of God. But then you get stuff like that helps sort of underscore what people are going through.
Exactly, and so yeah, the reporter did it because he wanted not to be part of it. He's taking the neutral path of like, I don't want to be part of this. I don't want to die. This will only get me killed. And so that's why the guy wrote the note saying, I know he would probably do this because he wanted to save his own skin, which is okay, but at least you tried. Thank you for being a hero. And that I understand that this side quest was meant to show you what a hero surely is, of someone trying to at least try. But having your family die because of it for nothing.
Did the best he could.
Yako needs his poor meat buns.
Yeah, the meat
Oh
bun.
man.
I may not have. I don't know how, but I don't know where I have the first quest.
He never
saved.
got.
You know what? The way that the story is going, I'm expecting those meat buns to be full of people.
Oh, probably.
Dude, you might. The
way
might
that
be right.
the story is,
Dude.
it's a side of silliness. Like, I can't gauge as a brand new person.
So I
in this,
get green.
I can't gauge this game at all because it's either super silly bullshit to horrendously dark. Like, I'm gonna turn you into a cube, like flesh to cube. Like, what is going
You
on?
can
with
turn
this range?
anything into a cube with that machine. 50 kilograms of anything.
Maybe
Whether
the
that's a
meat
person.
buns.
So, unfortunately, this theory is way too plausible for me. Like, it shouldn't
Yeah.
be plausible, but it is.
Like maybe
Why
eating the
not?
meat buns is why they want to kill each other.
in the first chapter, you get a ghost that's kidnapping children for the sake of keeping them safe. But then they're like, hey, if you actually were a good person, you get to save the child properly. In this one, it's like, hey, my family died because I tried to do the right thing. And what's the person do? Stomps on the fucking USB. Oh, that killed me.
But again, I think that's good world building in the sense that, right, like you then get to the case where you kind of feel sympathetic for these three girls whose best friend was killed, and they know who did it, and they can't do a damn thing about it.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right. Like
I need you to play
inherently
this video.
feel the injustice in that.
He wants you to play the video.
I want
which one?
This interactive cutscene in the middle of nowhere.
That got me too.
This interactive cutscene
that you immediately fail because you're not expecting it.
Exactly.
Wait, I'm sorry, I'm not tracking.
They're the random ass quick time events that they throw into. This is
play the video.
This is
the video that you
here.
Just before you meet her.
Yeah, before you when you have a tail and then you're earlier on.
Yeah, when you like suddenly have
there we go.
Someone's following you.
Here?
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, you're on top of it. Okay.
Oh, you mean you guys weren't like holding the controller or whatever?
Yeah, I was watching shit. I mean, I was holding the controller because it was the Steam Deck, but
interesting.
When you're just sitting back, closing your eyes, listening to the dialogue.
What's funny about this? I couldn't remember what you were talking about. I'm like, what?
Yeah,
this didn't surprise you.
So what happens if you fail it?
It goes on to the next one, and then there's another chance.
You stumble around instead.
You just look stupid, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. There are sequences where the QuickTime event does reset you, like when you're running through the train. But this isn't one of them. I think they're just putting it in there to be like, remember this is a thing.
Yeah, we do this. You're ready for this, right?
Mess with you, keep you on your toes. Yeah. Yeah, I didn't even remember that they were there.
Oh Lord!
You just see those things and you just react.
It's all Shenmue practice.
My hands were holding the dog at this time.
You know it's true.
You know,
Shenmue is the origin of these things.
It's the progenitor of that. At
exactly.
Least for me. It's
That's
the first
the word. Even the other day, I'm like, what was
the first time? It is the first time that I ever saw a slew of QuickTime events.
But in that game, you knew they were coming.
Yeah. Because they were always coming. And they don't stop coming.
They don't stop coming.
And they don't stop coming. Just hit the ground running.
Okay. So I don't think I had anything else.
Adam's not getting the All-Star references, is he?
Hey,
no, you're an All-Star.
There we go.
That wasn't it.
No, that was it. You got it.
Okay.
It's part of that song.
One more thing on Yuma being related to number 1. This was another one. I went back to the prologue. There was this internal exchange too. Neon looks magical, blurred in the rain. And then he says, I don't have any memory scenes, but it still makes me all nostalgic. Perhaps I'm from a city like this one. And once again, oh no, this is him too. I forget if Shinigami interrupts him and says, "Stop thinking about this." But this was another one that kind of, when I went back to the prologue, was like, oh, that could be also in line with. Although
Number one isn't from here.
I was just about to say, is he from? Maybe he is.
Nah, who knows?
The WDO headquarters is not.
Right.
So anyway, that was one other reminder. That's all I had. Because what happened is when I was playing through, I like saved all these screenshots and whatnot to be my reminder, and we also made a list of things.
Maybe number one is related to Amaterasu more closely than we know.
Maybe it's the original founder or something.
Again, there.
John sits back.
Well, not only that.
Keep going.
Very early in chapter 3, right when there's some interactions with Makoto, some things are said that you're like,
Are we intriguing you to start playing it, Pete?
Playing what? Oh, chapter 3? I'll get to it.
Chapter 3. It'll be a while before we get through that.
I don't know.
Well,
maybe not.
If we set something, I'll start sooner than later. We set it down that we're going to go for it in the next couple of weeks.
So chapter 2 for me took 7 hours, I think, was all my videos added up. Without quests, it was 7 hours, chapter 2. Given that we're like 2 hours in and no murder yet in chapter 3.
The murder investigation usually takes... Yeah, the murder investigation usually takes about an hour and a half to 2 hours. And the Mystery Labyrinth another 2 hours. So there's 4 hours of that usually so far.
Yeah, so I would say from a planning purposes, we should assume it's about 8 hours of gameplay.
Yeah.
So that should be 3 weeks.
Probably.
Well, I need to be more on top of it ahead of time, but a hard date helps push me to get it done. So
I don't want to do it too soon in advance, because if I do, then I don't remember that it is clearly. This worked out, the timing. I did a lot of this last week, and I still remembered it, so that's a good thing.
It was funny. Actually, like when you first meet Wendy and stuff like that, I did that
months ago.
I wouldn't say months ago, but
weeks ago.
Let me take the date on the video. Yeah, it was like end of November.
Yeah, months ago.
That explains why I didn't remember the QTE. November 30th.
Well, 3 weeks from now is February 9th.
Works for me, as far as I know.
This chapter actually ended with a proper, like, cliffhanger that I want to get back. Yeah, I want to keep going. I want to learn more, especially the mask guy.
Yeah, so I mean, I'm up for trying 2 weeks. I don't know that I'll succeed, but that would be like the stretch goal, and we could pivot back to 3 if we fail on the stretch goal.
Let's go for 3 weeks, and then people can chime in when they're done.
You can do that.
Okay. Let's see how much time I can get to do it in the next couple of days. And that'll let you know 2 or 3 weeks is reasonable.
Next weekend for us is basically shot, so...
Well, we're not going to do it that soon.
No, I know, but...
God, 8 hours of playtime?
Right, if I truly need 8 hours... Well, 6 more. If I need to fit in 6 more hours at some point, that's...
Well, if you're watching my videos, you know I can get it done in one day.
Yeah, I can't do that.
Do you know how many hours it was, though, Aaron?
For me,
yeah,
it was a total of 3 to 5.5, and then the 30-minute part 3 today. So about 6 hours for me.
6, okay.
You know what's crazy is, so next weekend is shot. That's good. The weekend after that, I'm gone Friday and Saturday. So we'd have to do a lot of playing to even get the 9th.
Unless we shoot for the 1st.
We're not shooting for the 1st. We're shooting for the
second.
Oh, what ranks did you guys get for chapter 2?
You guys are funny.
S.
Yeah,
S.
We got S.
S was the base rank I got.
Yeah.
What's that mean?
It's not even worth.
You know, Maria's giving me the look because I'm going back and getting like after I do it, I go back and get the SS.
Yeah. So we had to waste a lot. Maybe that's part of your 2 hours of.
No. The way I.
Oh, he wasn't calculating that in it, Maria.
No, because to get the 7 hours, I just added up the recordings.
He goes. Let's sit down and play some rank code. Okay, great. He's like, okay, I'm gonna redo all these scenes again so I can get a better rank. I'm like, I'm out of here. I'm done. You lied to me. We're not really playing rain code.
Absolutely.
I got S myself. I was pretty happy with it.
Probably the first time. Very impressive, Aaron, unlike Adam.
Thank you.
I got S the first time too because it was the only time.
See,
it's going to be the only time that I go through.
The part that I mess up the most was because I didn't think this the girl on the stage was the problem.
My stamina is always the lowest of the ratings in the score because sometimes I'll just screw things randomly up. Not in any of the things that matter, but just like crossing the bridges. It'll be press like one of 3 buttons and they don't actually map to the buttons that are on my controller. So it's like press X, Y, or A, and it's like, okay, I'll press Y. Oh, that's not really Y, it's X, it's backwards. And it's just, oh.
That's why I'm doing keyboard now, because I had the same problem with my controller. And I was like, I will never do that properly, so I have to use a keyboard to...
I didn't have that problem when I was playing it on the Switch. However, I did have the problem of the cutscenes, or the loading times being terrible.
Oh my God.
However, with the Switch 2, things probably should be different, because it'll be the equivalent of having like a PS4 in your pocket.
So
yeah.
I heard that there was an announcement, but I haven't looked into it at all yet.
They did. They announced
broken
it.
parts from it.
What do you mean broken parts?
There's going to be little metal tabs that poke out of it on the sides. To insert the Joy-Cons on the side of it. There's these little metal...
From what I understand, they're flexible.
Oh, are they? Oh, that's good then.
They're kind of like one of those magnetic connections.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and they're flexible.
I saw that. I was like, oh man, that's instantly gonna break in 5 minutes.
Of course. Yeah. You gotta keep in mind. I'm pretty sure that they know that they gotta ruggedize this for kids. Because a large
it would
portion
be appealing to kids.
Dude.
Yeah, a large portion of their interest base is going to be kids.
Yeah, I'd like to get a Switch too, so that they can have the original Switch, and we have our own game that they can have.
So our original Switch got dropped, and like the touchscreen started like touching itself, which was very annoying.
Stop touching yourself! Stop touching yourself! What?
But I was actually able to fix it by just squeezing the top, so that the top corner where it kept registering the touches, I just squeezed it really hard one day, and it's never come back.
Fixed.
Yeah, okay. So this was I actually, because I'm going back and doing the SS thing, I haven't been saving this screen on any of them, but this was the one that I did save, which was Chapter 0. For me, it's always stamina as well.
First time. CBAS. What the hell does that mean?
You get a bonus based on your rank the first time through.
Oh. So you improved from your first time.
No, this was the first time.
I'm so confused.
My
He
first
went
time
back.
through on all of them, I've gotten S because stamina was S.
Okay.
So like this screen, it's looked the same in all 3 cases.
Yeah, stamina is what ultimately drags you down. Yeah, me too.
Because basically, you take a hit, you screw something.
Yep.
So there's a skill tree. I don't think we've talked about skill trees yet.
Oh, I haven't used it.
Wait.
I haven't either.
I went far left, and the amount of keys meant for the whole RDM.
Yeah, RDM.
Is it's a cakewall now.
Do they give you 2 choices? Figure it out.
One key. No, it's just 1 key. You don't
One key.
So I was like, oh my god, this is so much better now.
So you just have to figure out which statement to counter then.
Exactly, yes.
Oh, that's easy.
It's easy, and it was just more enjoyable for me.
Yeah, no. Yeah, I should go back and look to put points into that. When I realized that I couldn't make the barrel go faster with points, I was just like, I don't care. I want the barrel to spin!
Yeah, I need the barrel to go a little bit faster because spelling out accomplices was kind of hard for me.
I'll say this. For me, I'm disappointed in the barrel in that, like, of all the dang games, the anagram mechanic,
best.
some of them I really liked, yeah. And for this one, it's just like, oh.
The one from 2.
2 was the best, absolutely.
2 was the
Is
best.
that the one where they came together?
If you didn't
To
have
bubbles?
but if you didn't have the Vita touchscreen, it was a lot harder.
Oh, it was very hard. For me.
I played it on the Vita.
I remember chapter 5. I could not keep up. Like, I was just like getting blitzed. Like,
I got through it.
blowing up in my
I got
face.
through it by accident. Like, I was getting blown up so much, and I just somehow got through it. I couldn't defend it all.
Well, my last share for chapter 2, somewhat related.
Is
What'd you guys think of that screenshot? I put it in the...
Yes! I loved it. I loved it. That side quest was amazing.
Oh, did anybody else see that? That's a Danganronpa reference right there.
Yes.
Oh,
yes.
totally.
Sure is.
The L and the E at least.
Yeah. Leon.
Leon.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't get that reference. But
So there's a
the side quest.
I'm gonna ruin the first case of Danganronpa 1 if you ever decide to play it. The person who's murdered leaves a note or leaves a message that is 4 letters, and it's also similarly upside down.
Yeah. This game does a lot of references to Danganronpa. This one was probably one of the more tongue-in-cheek references, but like I mentioned before, like the art style, a lot of like the thematic cues, the larger structure, like the pink blood. It's all a reference to the source material, and stuff like this, they're hoping that you are at least aware of the Danganronpa series.
Right.
But as Aaron hopefully you can attest, you do not need to have all the Danganronpas played to still enjoy it.
No, this side quest was really funny because it took me like 3 minutes to figure out what the code was supposed to be. And then I looked at the answers closely, and I looked at the picture. I'm like, I turned my head upside down. Like, God damn it! There it is.
Yeah.
So, I guess so we had all that talk about like thematic, like content, like truth, and all that, hero, etc. I remember in an interview that I read before he played the game, someone asked him what he would say the overarching theme of the game is. You know, if you think of like Danganronpa as being hope and despair, he said love and hate, and I guess that's interesting because that's not what we talked about thematically at all.
Not yet.
I don't.
Not yet. Exactly.
Not yet.
You've got Yomi and Martina setting it off.
I could see that coming.
What's love?
What's love?
Yeah.
Anyway, that's all I got.
That's interesting. I mean, mentioning that is very interesting.
It gives Pete something
Love
to think
and
about
hate.
as he's playing.
I'm pretty sure that's what the interview said was love and hate. Yeah, I'm going from memory.
Yeah, and I remember you telling me.
I think it's in one of our first episode too. I think I said it right off the rip because I talked to you guys about that interview, but that I had read.
Well, the train was hate because the peacekeepers hate the detectives.
Just in general, love and hate as a theme certainly can be said to be carried through all of this if you think about it.
Yeah,
People
exactly.
do things for one of those 2 reasons.
Yeah.
Right.
Every one of the culprits.
Especially chapter 1 is chapter 2. Yeah.
Chapter 1's culprit does it ostensibly for love, if you think about it.
He does.
He loves the people so much that he wants to help them, and he wants them not, he wants to make their dreams come true. Unfortunately, it's by killing people. Chapter 2, they
Kind of words messed up.
seemingly hated her so much because they loved the person
Their
that
friend.
she killed. Exactly.
Yeah.
Chapter 0, I don't know. Did he hate or love anybody? Who knows? He's dead. Screw him. He was a bad character anyway.
I mean that that could be part of why they chose the number 0 instead of 1.
That
But
could be.
there's even an artistic decision that goes into choosing 0 versus 1.
That's true.
Or it could just be messing with.
Right, it
or
was
could just
like,
be messing with you.
here's some mechanics for you, but the real game doesn't start till chapter 1.
Actually, of all the cases, I found chapter 0 to be the hardest.
Yeah.
I couldn't grasp the rail the one train and put it into the front of the train. That was the part that made me go, yeah, this is weird. All right, let's keep going. I like this.
I like that. This is weird. Let's keep going. I like this.
This is all I can describe this game so far. This game is really weird. It's so weirdly animated, like so weirdly anime, where it's completely like Ulu-san to oh my god, people are dying, becoming cubes. Like, what's going on here?
I want to see the cube.
I want to see.
Did we get to see the cube, John?
I don't remember.
I just want on his person, like on his hip, just a cube for some reason. In the future,
Like he holds it up and he says,
no.
"What do you think, Martina?"
What?
Now that would make me happy.
Well, he basically says, "Hey, just because you're beautiful doesn't mean you have to be alive."
That's right. Beauty is beauty in the form of a cube.
Just in the form of a cube.
Just want a cube on his hip. I hope we see
Perfect
him
dimensions. The golden ratio.
I'm gonna.
She did bring that up.
That's not a
I
cube,
know.
though.
No, it isn't.
All right, in chapter 3, if we come across them, I'm gonna be checking.
Now, if he can turn it into a spiral, that would be perfect. No? Golden ratio?
Oh,
Golden ratio is a spiral.
Yeah.
Sure.
You put it on the graph.
yeah. I'm not sure I ever knew that.
Now you
You probably
do.
knew it and
That's what I'm here
you
for.
might have known it and forgot it.
Yeah, it's possible. It's very
This is what I'm here for.
But for people that for the video people that watching this and don't understand what the the golden thing is.
There it is. Also remember, the spiral peoples will always, we have exponential energy, and therefore the anti-spirals will always hate us.
Oh, you talk about seashell then?
There's a reference to Gurren
Drill is the
Lagann.
drill that will pierce the heaven.
Will pierce the heavens.
Oh, I'm actually watching that now.
It's so good.
What is this?
I love that show.
Gurren Lagann. It's a pretty good anime. It's got a little bit of everything.
So I got to episode 16, watched it, and then was like, "Oh, I would have thought the series ended there."
I can't remember. Is that at the end of seemingly where you think the end is?
Exactly.
No, dude. You remember this series goes ever upward to the point that nothing ever makes any sense. That's the point.
Well, like I said, I got another 10 episodes to go, and honestly, I watched that episode like 2 months ago.
You break through the ceiling of the cave into the world, and they continue ever upward. What's the next ceiling at this point, since they've basically conquered the surface?
The heavens.
The heavens!
The drill that pierces the heavens.
Exactly.
The spiral.
You gotta keep watching. Go back
The
to
golden
it.
ratio.
With that,
The golden ratio.
anything else?
Nope, that's it for now. We'll do this in 2 or 3 weeks, whatever's good for you guys. I'll try to get it done now. And then
Okay.
I can remember things for 3 weeks. I just can't remember things for over a month, and then have the clarity of the little points that I like to point out, and I don't write anything down. So
I've started writing things down specifically for what I started doing is just taking screenshots.
that makes sense. I can do that on the Steam Deck pretty easily.
Just
I
take
should do that.
Like
And then
a
it
dialogue,
reflects back in
either a
Steam.
scene or a dialogue line. Yeah.
Yeah.
Then you at least remember the things that caught your attention.
Yep. But I also take screenshots of things that are just random and hilarious too. So, which unfortunately there's a lot of.
Yes. All right.
I
I'm
like
tired.
Desahiko. I gotta say, I like Desahiko more than I liked him the last time that we talked, because of how much of a scumbag he is. He's good.
He loves
Dude,
scumbags.
I could not.
He's a good
After a while,
character
I
because
could
he
never.
is what he is.
He was fine until he wanted to beg me.
He was fine until he wanted to bang me. Nice. That's the best. That's the comment of the night.
Yeah. Hope that's recorded.
Yeah, it is. I didn't hit the stop button.
Well, so next, ostensibly based on the save file picture for chapter 3, Ditzy girl.
Mm.
Oh,
no.
oh.
Cookie
Clockford? Yeah.
Yeah.
Clockford.
So
She's
they're
just gonna
saving,
show up.
they're saving the other guy till the end. He said some interesting things.
Vivia.
Yeah.
Oh, I think
Regarding
Vivian
your
knows-
powers.
I think Vivian knows the situation.
Yeah, that cutscene in the sub before it blows up. I love that cutscene because it's the detectives starting to figure Yuma out.
Just in
Oh,
time.
so quick question: do we remember if they forget that he could copy their powers?
They forget everything that happens in the Mystery Labyrinth. So I don't think they forget that.
Like, they could share his abilities with Yuma. Like,
I don't think that they forget anything that happened in the investigation before the Mystery Labyrinth. When they're in the labyrinth, they can't remember that part. But when they're out of the labyrinth, they can't remember what happened in the labyrinth.
So why are they not mentioning the fact that he can copy their abilities?
I don't remember if they ever don't mention that.
They
actually.
never mentioned that during this conversation. And then they're still questioning what his abilities are, what his forte is.
He's not supposed to have one.
Well, Halara says this.
He's the detective of death, says Vivia.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're saying that too many people are dying around him. Yeah. Yep, there they go. And then she said, it perhaps is someone's forte.
Yeah, this is them planting the seed that she's not ditzy 100% of the time, which they will desperately need because she's been a shit character until now.
Oh, that's her job. I mean, that's the role that she plays.
No. Sonya Nevermind is what she wants to be, but she's not nearly as
Uh-huh.
good.
Well, nobody is.
Exactly. Get out
You
of
know
here,
why?
poser.
Because she doesn't have a mechanic dude. What was his name?
Ibuki?
Kabuki? No. It was Katsu something?
Katsuhiro?
Katsu.
What? The mechanic dude who ultimately was the best foil for Sonya Nevermind.
Kazuichi Soda.
Yeah.
That's him,
Yeah,
that
there you go.
loser.
Kazuichi.
So she has to beat the loser and Sonya at the same time. That's the problem.
Yeah.
Too small a cast. Makes sense. This is more Danganronpa talk. Sorry, Aaron.
It's fine.
We'll I don't want to put myself out there as definitely going to play those games on stream, but we'll see what I can do.
Ooh, I would definitely watch that.
Speaking of games you've done on stream, I'm kind of itching to go back and play Metal Gear Solid 2. If
Yep.
I do, I'll call you up and because you played it recently, right?
Oh, dude, yeah. I played through all the Metal Gear games. Oh, hold on, let me stop recording. We're done talking about Master Detective Archives Ring Code. Come back next time.